morning, and welcome to Ask the Expert, an award-winning daily series from 8:30 to 9 a.m. to help small businesses. If you have any questions, you can ask them in the comments of the live feed. If you need any more advice, you can join the official Intuit QuickBooks SMB community group on Facebook, where the accountants and business experts are on hand 24/7. During this live session, we will be running a poll, so please do engage with it, and I'll reveal the results at the end. If you're on TikTok, you can check out Be Your Own Boss competition. Pitch a new business idea, and you could win investment, mentorship, and business advice to help it to make it a reality. Tag hashtag Be Your Own Boss to enter. For those who don't know me yet, my name is Eva Mrazikova, and I'm delighted to be joining this show again today. I'm an accountancy market specialist. I'm working in Irish Software Group. During my professional life, I have been working as accountant in various settings, mix between industry and the practice. Well, kind of one of my latest jobs that I had in the practice, and that probably shaped and impacted my thinking and my career quite a lot, where I was implementing digitalization and cloud software, buying into cloud software within the practice and for the clients as well. So there's been a lot of digital onboarding, training, internal, external as well, which I really enjoyed, and really come into the business and review the current processes and suggest improvements and introducing efficiencies into the way the businesses run. So this is something I'm very passionate about. Before I will dive into my topic for today, which is how to minimize your financial worries, I'd like to just recap on a few things and maybe just do a reminder of a few things that are out there. So you probably know by now it's a recurrent thing that job retention claims support scheme. So deadline for the month of May is obviously 15th of June. We now had free self-employment support scheme grants. The fourth grant covering until September will be available hopefully at some stage in July. This would apply to any business that the turnover has fallen by 30% and more. So this is kind of the business side. The last thing, I want you to look up the super deduction relief. So this is super deduction relief applies to companies who invested or who will invest in the plant or machinery between April 2021 and March 2023. So any qualifying plant or machinery, you can claim up to 130% of the cost. So make sure that you check with your accountant as well, what exactly is classified as a plant or machinery. This is kind of for the government trying to boost the business again, trying to bring the economy up again and maybe revive it a bit. So those are all good things that they're out there to grab. You just need to make sure that you speak to the accountant to give you good professional advice on this. So going to the lower scale, but still significant tax savings, we have marriage tax allowance. So if your partner isn't earning up to their full personal allowance, which for this year is £12,570, they can transfer up to 10% of their personal allowance to you if you are basic rate taxpayer, where you would get 20% additional tax saving. So every little bit of help. So make sure you check into this. If, say, for example, your partner is or statutory leave, or if they have just a part-time job. So make sure that you can utilize their personal allowance. You have to be in civil partnership or kind of in the marriage partnership for this though. And also you can apply backwards for years. Obviously the amounts a little bit differ because it depends on the personal allowance available for that year. But you'll be able to check all of that online and check with HMRC. Now, working from home, quite popular and frequent thing these days. So your employer, if you're employed, your employer can actually provide you with £6 a week, which is tax-free, really, so you're not being taxed on this extra. So if you had to work from home, obviously certain criteria must apply. That you might be able to avail of this benefit, which again gives you a bit more saving on your taxes. So this is kind of just the overall. I wanted to mention a few golden nuggets I think that there are out there for grab for people, just to help them with their overall finances. So this topic, again, very close to my heart, and obviously speaking to businesses on a daily basis, speaking to clients, there is some element of worry for the future for their business, and obviously this is then transpiring into the private life as well. So it goes hand in hand, and obviously if you are stressed, if you are worried, it's impacting your mental health as well. So it's all very connected. So a few things, few pointers from my experience, how to minimize your financial worries. And you can kind of apply this not only to your business, but to your personal life as well, because as I'm saying, it's all interlinked pretty much. So in your business, whatever stage you are in your business, make sure that you have a business plan, that you have some kind of plan, that you know what you are doing in your business. You're not just trying to get from one day to another. You need specific plan. You need to know where you want to be in 6 months, 12 months, 2 years, 3 years. It's very important, because then you're actually working towards something. And probably you are more motivated as well. With this business plan, obviously, you will have to set up budgets. You will have to set up cash flow forecast, your spendings, your outgoings, your incomings, so you can materialize or you can execute the plan that you have created. So that's very important. And with this hand in hand, obviously, which I keep banging on about, it's up-to-date record keeping. So obviously I'm going to say QuickBooks is an amazing tool to enable you to have day-to-day up-to-date record keeping, but much more, because from those data you can actually read, you can set your budgets, you can do your planning, and kind of the next thing coming to that, it's monitoring. So not only to set up the budget or plan, but monitor and review your plan on very regular basis. So if you imagine, if you don't have a real life data, it's very difficult for you to see the real picture. It's almost pointless, in my view. So you are doing yourself a favor. So it's not, sometimes the clients would think that they are doing us a favor to accountants who are doing their bookkeeping or whatever. But most importantly, you are doing yourself a favor, because you know the real, you have the finger on the pulse in your business, and that's very crucial to you. Your credit control policy and maybe invoicing policy overall, review that. If you may be used to invoicing once a month, once every couple of months, is there a scope for you to bill every week or every other week? if your customers are taking 30 to 60 days to pay you, is there a scope for you to ask them, can you please maybe pay me within 2 weeks, maybe introduce early settlement discount where you give 1-2% discount of the total amount, something that is kind of ensuring that you have constant flow of money coming in, that it's not kind of just hitting unevenly, because that can impact your cash flow quite in a negative way if this is not done right. So make sure that you look into your credit control policy and your invoicing policy, even if you say, okay, I can't invoice because I didn't finish my project yet. But who is to say that you can't agree with your clients? Okay, so I'm going to bill you 10% at the beginning of the project, maybe another 20% at 1/3 or half of the project, things like that. So the money keeps coming in, and at the end of the day, you are doing the work. So you cannot be expected to wait for all the money only at the end of the project. But talk to your customers, talk to your suppliers. It's very important to talk and to act when the difficulties arises. So the other kind of thing you need to review, it's your overall outgoings. Most of us are guilty of this, maybe once in our lifetime, our direct debits. Can you put hand on heart that you know what all your direct debits are? Review those. Maybe you're paying for something that it's not really relevant to you anymore, or you don't need to spend money on. So just review those. And really the important thing, and kind of the overall, make sure you act now. If you are in difficulties, speak to whoever you need to speak. And you know what? It's not a shame to ask for help. Don't feel embarrassed. There are many people in the same boat as you are. But if you are trying to bury your head in the sand, that's not going to help you. So I kind of hope this helped you guys, and I wish to each and every one of you good luck in whatever you're doing out there. There are a few questions already in the queue, so I'm going to start taking the questions. Kelly on Twitter DMs, are there any changes between the 5th self-employment support scheme and the last one? Anything we should be aware of? So Kelly, obviously this is going to, whenever the next claim will be introduced, the kind of turnover drop period will be moving forward as well. So that will be announced when the claim will be available, what period your turnover would have to drop. Okay, so you kind of working more on the real-time basis. So I would imagine if this is going to cover, until September, they probably will be talking about turnover figures maybe in June, May, July. So just watch out for those. Otherwise, kind of it's the paying out, it's very similar, but obviously the period where they're going to monitor the turnover, because you might have, the reason I'm saying this, you might have been entitled to the last grant because your turnover was dropping in March, for example, but you might be now doing much better and your turnover isn't dropping that much, minimum of 30%. So you need to be aware of that real situation. And again, back to my points earlier, you need to up-to-date record keeping to be able to see the full picture. Hopefully this answered your question. Owen from Facebook Messenger, I'm self-employment subcontractor and my client isn't covering my travel time. Some jobs take up to 2 to 3 total hours traveling. There's nothing in my contract about this, but previous subcontracting roles covered it. What should I do? Oh, and thank you for your question. And this is, I think, quite a real and frequent issue that it's out there. So because you are self-employed, ultimately the client doesn't have to pay you for your travel time. So the way I would approach it, well, you can speak to him, but he is not really obliged to pay you for your travel time. The way I would approach it, when you are quoting for a job, I would try to incorporate the travel time into your charge out rate. Try to kind of think future-wise, how long it's going to take you to get to the job, and incorporate it. Obviously, then your rate will be higher, but you have a reasonable explanation to the customer that because you spent so much on the road. I'm not sure, because you already started there, whether there is an opportunity for you to still to speak to them. Or the other thing, you can maybe introduce like a fixed fee, daily fee to cover your travel time, but ultimately it will be between you and your client to establish that and agree, obviously, because you can tell them whatever you want, but they might turn around and they say, I don't agree. So you need to bear this in mind. And even if you're looking for next jobs, try to have that in mind and try to incorporate this element of time travel into your charge out rate, because it's very important, because you're not getting this time back and nobody's paying you for it. So just make sure that you leave something extra in that rate. Hopefully that helped. Sophia on Twitter DMs, what do you do if you're working with an accountant who doesn't seem to get your vision? My one doesn't seem to have experience in the sector I'm entering. Sophia, thank you for your question. Now, I think you are very lucky, because in this day and age, there are so many wonderful, greatly skilled accountants out there. And really, if I would be picking accountant, you pointed out very important thing. They don't seem to have experience in the sector that you are entering. So when you are looking or searching or shopping for accountant, this should be one of the things that you have a look at. Which sectors are they good at? Because to be told, to be honest, you cannot be expert in everything. If you spread yourself very thin, you know just the high level, but you never know deeply enough, unless you are like genius. So even accountants, if they want to be very good in what they're doing, they specialize in few sectors as well, or if it's bigger accountancy firm, they have different teams of advisors that focus on different sectors, because it's very different if you are a hairdresser or if you're a manufacturer. So I would probably speak to them about your worries, just to make sure they realize your worries. We are all different creatures, different people. All people will not get me. I will not get all people. But I think if you talk to them, have a conversation, if you don't think this is going to work, maybe even they will be able to advise you about someone else in their field who would be good fit for you. But just talk, we are all humans. That it's not, maybe if they're struggling, maybe it will be a blessing for them if you speak to them, and they won't be offended even if you will want to leave. But I think that to have a conversation, to start, because ultimately, every accountant wants the best, what's best for their clients. I am a stronger believer in that. That's why we are accountants. We want to help our clients. And sometimes it's just not the right fit. So yeah, I would encourage you to talk to them and see what they say, and look for a better fit professional. But make sure you kind of state your expectations right at the beginning, but not also that, because this has to be working relationship. The accountant will tell you their expectations as well. Because in all the goodwill in the world, if accountant is not getting from their client what they need from their client, again, it's probably not a good start to the relationship. So make sure you bear all those things in mind. Frank on Instagram DMs, the super deduction relief sounds really helpful. As a self-employed electrician, can I claim? And if so, What sort of equipment can I claim? So Frank, thank you for the question. So yes, the super deduction, it's very cool in accountancy terms. I would encourage you, do not attempt to master this without professional help of the accountant. The law is talking about the companies, so have a look better what kind of setting you need to have. I would encourage you, before you go and buy anything, that you do speak to your accountant. So plant and machinery can be many different things, and it goes from computer equipment, servers, solar panels, tractors, lorries, vans, ladders, drills, office chairs, desks, electric vehicles, charge points, refrigerator units, compressors, foundry equipment. But make sure that you do speak to the professional accountant, because they will be able to tell you exactly. Kind of catching on this question and elaborating on this, guys, is very important. If you are planning to invest in any plant and machinery for your business, please make sure you speak to your accountant before you make investment, because they might know about different ways, for example, of funding, which might be more suitable for you. They might be able to help you to get a better deal as well. So make sure that this is quite important decision, because we're not talking about few pounds here and there. Those are usually significant. This is usually significant amount of money that you are letting go. So make sure that you get a professional advice whether this will fit into either the super deduction relief or annual investment allowance, which is obviously going still hand in hand with that. So make sure that you speak to your accountant, because I can't give you exact answer until I know more. But the one thing I'm sure about, you shouldn't be making decision on your own on that. Muhammad on Facebook. I'm having a trouble to add post integration when in QuickBooks Online. It's integrated, but the inside tools cannot be selected, like sales, cost of sales. Can I have tutorials on that integration between Blend and QuickBooks Online? Okay, Muhammad, this is quite specific question, and thank you very much for tuning in. What I would do, I would speak to the QuickBooks advisors online. You can either ring or you can have a web chat with them, because this is quite specific and it will depend on the supplier of the integration as well. I assume you probably already spoke to that side, to your supplier of that point of sale terminal. So if they cannot help you, because they might have had other clients coming along across the same issue. So if the vendor is not able to help you, reach out directly to QuickBooks. They will be able to help you. And if this is an issue, there are maybe other 20 people of this issue, so it will be looked at. So won't be able to specifically help you on this, I'm afraid, during this session, but definitely reach out, or even reach out to me, whatever you find the most convenient way, but we'll get you sorted, we'll help you. Chantal on Facebook Messenger. We did have a business plan, but the market changed so much because of COVID, and we had to diversify our revenue streams. Now the business plan doesn't quite match what we're actually doing. Should we start from scratch? Any advice on developing a new business plan? Chantal, you hit the nail on the head there, and there are many businesses like you are that had to think on their feet, and basically whatever they set up 2 years ago just went out of the window because the situation changed completely. Yes, if it would be me, I would start completely from scratch. There is no point of going into the original plan and try to amend. Yes, you can still keep in the same sense of it, but I think you need the clear start. You need a clean slate to start, because you know now much more than you knew 2 years ago. So your business plan that you're going to draft now will be much more precise and much more closer to your vision. Any advice on developing a new business plan? Well, depending where you are, to my knowledge, sometimes local councils or local business centers are actually running training sessions on this, on how to write a business plan, or they can help you to write a business plan. Look at like enterprise business centers. Sometimes it's for a small fee, or sometimes it's funded. There are advisors there, qualified advisors, who can help you with that. If this will not work, speak to your accountant. They might know, or they will help you themselves. They are quite qualified to help you with this task. So I would encourage you to kind of reach out to someone. Any advice on developing a new business plan? So yeah, that's I'm kind of sorry, just reading through. Yeah, make sure that you seek. There is plenty of advice in those business centers, as I said. And yeah, because you diversified your business, it's kind of opening completely new streams of money coming in, money coming out. So make sure you incorporate that from business plan. Yeah, so start from scratch. That's my advice. Louise on Twitter, what should we be checking over when we do a credit control policy review? So this is a very good question, Louise. So so we have two situations. We have new client who is coming on board, and you have existing. So if it's a client who is coming on board new, you can ask for reference. You can ask them for a reference from their other suppliers, whether they, good payer. Probably if it's a new one, I would first of all have a lower limit that they can spend. So, for example, £500 until they pay that £500 for all the work you've done before. Only then you can provide them with the further service or further work. And then this can increase as your relationship develops with them. Obviously, existing clients, so you need to have a look at the history. You need to have a look at how soon, what is their pattern of paying. If they pay you within 60 days every time, have a conversation with them, tell them this is not sustainable. Can we meet in the middle? It's going to be really individual. And again, the up-to-date record keeping will come to play an important role in this, because if you have this, you will be able to check the pattern of your clients. And whenever you are reviewing your credit control policy, you will see then how you need to amend it, adjust it, and which clients you need to speak to first. So yeah, bear that in mind. But I would always encourage start with small and then increase. In my opinion, if anybody is being serious about doing business with you, they won't have a problem with that. They won't have a problem with that because they want to keep good relationship with you. Emma on Facebook, this is our last question. It's hard to predict how busy my cafe will be when customers are allowed inside, but making an estimate based on the space I have and social distancing, it might not be busy enough. What could we be doing to increase our income streams? Hi, Emma, and well done for holding on. Yes, this is a difficult time for the hospitality sector. The things I would think about, so depending on what your offer is, if it's just a cafe, can you try to maybe widen your offer, maybe sandwiches, cold lunches? Will be one thing, just look at your offer, but don't make it too complicated. The other thing I would think about, because based on the space and social distancing, depending where you are, can you maybe deliver? Do you have offices around? Can you offer delivery service rather than waiting for people to come to you? So that can be potentially another stream for your business. I think those are the main two things. Look, what can you offer what somebody else that is running a coffee shop isn't offering? But it's now quite popular that people are getting this delivered. So think about it. Obviously, you're going to charge for delivery as well. So hopefully this helped. Guys, thank you so much. Again, this has been, wow, fabulous session with you all, and the questions are amazing. You are certainly paying attention. I'm going to announce the poll results. So we have asked you, how often do you keep your bookkeeping up to date? 50% of you said daily, 0% said weekly, and 50% of you said monthly. None answered quarterly. Now, so the 50% of you who said daily, I'm going to do a little clap. Well done. This is the way to go, guys. Monthly, in my view, it's not enough. Obviously, it's going to depend what kind of business you are, but I think monthly, that's quite giving it a little bit of a risk there, leaving it to the risk, because you don't know your exact situation. That's my view. So well done, those 50%, and the other 50% maybe try weekly. Try weekly and then slip more towards more frequent record keeping. But well done, and thank you for participating in our pool as well. So thank you guys for tuning in this morning. If you have any more questions, you can find me on LinkedIn. My name is Eva Mrazikova. And coming up on Ask the Expert tomorrow is lovely Michelle Flynn, certified mental health coach. I have my own experience with Michelle, and I couldn't recommend her enough. She is great. So tune in to find out how to maintain a positive mindset and how to still find time for our self-help as we return to offices. Also, a reminder that if you need any more advice, you can join the official Intuit QuickBooks SMB community group on Facebook, where the accountants and business experts are on hand 24/7. And reminder, don't forget that the Be Your Own Boss competition on TikTok. You can pitch a new business idea and you could win investment, mentorship, and business advice. Tag #BeYourOwnBoss to enter. So really enjoyed today. So thank you so much for all your questions and have a lovely day. Bye.